AI is coming for your job. Actually, I misread that. That should be Al. Al is coming for your job. You know him, he's the boss's kid. Frickin' nepotism. I want to talk about artificial intelligence and the possibility that artificial intelligence could replace human authors. Specifically today, I want to talk about this idea that in the near future, when you go to the bookstore, or let's be honest, Amazon, to buy a new book, that book is going to be written by an AI rather than a human author. I'll start out by saying that I'm a little bit skeptical that this is actually going to happen, and I'll go through some reasons why. The first reason has to do with supply and demand. I have here a hammer. I'm sure you have a similar one in your desk. In the past, prior to the Industrial Revolution, when a writer needed a desk hammer, they would go to their local blacksmith and their local blacksmith would make them a hammer. Desk hammers and pretty much everything else that you use day to day was made one at a time or in small batches. At some point, the demand for hammers outstripped what all of the blacksmiths collectively could produce, and that led to the invention of machinery and assembly lines and mechanization and industrialization, which allowed us to produce desk hammers at a much faster rate. Technology whose main function is that it can produce something quicker or cheaper or without human intervention than traditional methods only makes sense when those traditional methods can't meet the existing demand. Extending that logic to fiction, if there was a shortage of books out there, then a technology that can produce books cheaper and faster than human authors would have a lot of potential. But that's not the world we live in. I did a little bit of research before filming this video, and currently Amazon has like 33 million books in its inventory. Now, I know a bunch of those are just different editions of the same book, and that includes nonfiction, and there's hardcover and paperback versions of the same book, and ebooks and all that. But that's still a lot of books. There are probably more fiction novels out there today than any one person could reasonably expect to read in a lifetime. And there's more and more of them being produced every single day. Publishers and literary agents are inundated with new manuscripts from potential authors. It's very rarely something that they have to go out and search for. The simple fact is that there are more people who are willing to and want to be professional writers than there are slots available for people to be professional writers. Yes, a lot of the books submitted to publishers and literary agents are not publishable grade, but a lot of them are and don't end up getting published simply because another book of equal quality was chosen because of reasons. So I ask then, what incentive would the publishing industry or Amazon or any of the other major players have in investing in AI technology that would replace authors? When they're getting a massive supply of the input material to their business basically for free, they have very little incentive to do that. Yes, they have to pay authors royalties and advances, and there is some expense associated with that, but the 10 to 15% that you get paid by a publisher seems small compared to the amount of money it would take to develop a bunch of AIs that can replace all of those authors. I think a more likely outcome is that the larger players in the industry are going to negotiate a bigger and bigger slice of the pie through time, and that's how they're going to find efficiencies in the coming years. It's not going to be through getting rid of human authors. Next reason that AI won't replace human authors has to do with parasocial relationships. You've probably read somewhere that loneliness is on the rise. The majority of adults now say they only have one close friend, and that number has been declining for decades. And since you can't be friends with half a person, the next logical step is no close friends. This is terrifying and will most likely be the cause of most societal problems over the next few decades. But on the bright side of this, it may stave off the AI replacement of human authors. With the decrease in real friends, the importance of parasocial relationships, whether they be with celebrities, authors, or influencers, is going to become a bigger and bigger part of people's lives. People will be more and more trying to plug the loneliness hole in their lives by interacting with and reacting and commenting on and all the other things that you do with people you have fake relationships with online. This ultimately fake connection that you have with somebody whose movie you watch or whose book you buy doesn't really do the same thing as a meaningful real relationship, but it's easier to pursue and it can be pursued entirely online. As I said before, this is not a good thing. Like, seriously, pause this video and go text somebody, like anybody. It will help. My ultimate point here is that a authorless novel that's generated by some form of AI doesn't have a human author behind it and therefore offers no opportunity for these parasocial relationships. And I do think there is a healthy element of human interaction here as well. I think there is something intrinsically valuable about reading a book that represents potentially years of work that the author has put in, and reading their direct thoughts and their ideas and how they put those things together in the book. I think there is something that we undervalue. Books are not just about the content. I think there is something about that connection that we have with the author when we read a book. I think with the ongoing loneliness epidemic, that connection is taking the place of something that's much more valuable, but that doesn't mean that that connection itself has no value. In the future, I think the fact that a novel has an actual human author behind it is going to be an asset to that novel that will make it much more desirable than some AI-generated thing that doesn't have a human author behind it. The last reason that AI won't replace authors is that AI might make novels obsolete. If you think about it, the novel has lasted as a form of entertainment a lot longer than it ought to have. A lot longer than one might have reasonably anticipated. It's survived radio, television, the internet, YouTube, TikTok, video games, VR, AR, all of this. Through all of this, novels still remain a profitable and commonly consumed form of media. While physical book sales, I think, are on the decline, ebook sales and especially audiobook sales are on the rise and show no signs of slowing down. I think there's a few reasons for this. One of them being that a novel is a really, really cheap form of entertainment to produce. It's something that one person can create, and it has almost limitless possibilities. Your novel can take place in 150 different countries and have 1,500 characters and all kinds of things that would be impossible to fund for a movie or a TV show. You also don't need the staff that you would need for a TV or video production. There's just a lot less complexity involved. Because they're cheaper to produce, more and more different novels that are tailored to a specific niche can be produced, compared to the number of TV shows or movies that you could produce for the same amount of money. This gives novels an overall broader reach because there's simply more of them to read, and this variety can appeal to a greater number of tastes. Of course, with AI, a lot of this might be changing. I don't think we're quite there yet today, but I think in the next 10 to 15 years, or if the technology really starts to accelerate, maybe the next 10 to 15 months, I don't think it's unreasonable that we're going to see AIs that are capable of generating video content, like animated content with sound and voice and all of that included. We could be living in a world where what today would be a major production involving hundreds of people, like an animated TV series, could be produced by one person just plugging commands into an AI. If we get to that point in time where one person can use an AI to generate something beyond a novel with a massive scope and for arguably the same price as writing a novel, then the niche that the novel has might become a thing of the past. It just won't be relevant anymore. I think if you gave someone the choice to write a traditional novel or produce a piece of visual content, most people would probably pick the visual content. It's just flashier, it's more exciting. Now, this would be really cool, I have to admit. Like, this would be awesome. I think there's a whole other conversation that we need to have around artists and actors being displaced by these things. But you have to admit, the technology itself would be pretty cool, and it would open up an incredible array of possibilities. I mean, if I can produce an entire animated series sitting at home with my laptop and my underwear, then I probably would. I mean, that's how I write my novels right now. So ultimately, I don't think we're going to be living in a world where artificial intelligence is churning out novels in place of humans churning out novels. I think there's a lot of things that AI can't do. There's a lot of deeper meta experiences and voice and things that I just don't think they're ever really going to be capable of. Until we get to the point where we have an AI that is like replicating a human brain, at which point it's just going to be the apocalypse, so novels will be the least of our concerns. I think the best thing that anybody watching this video can do is experiment with these tools, see if there's ways that you can use them to enhance the work that you do. We're living in an exciting time as far as these tools. This is one of the first major changes that's come to writing in forever. And I think the people who are going to benefit the most from this change are the people who embrace it and find ways to use it to augment their creativity. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video and found the advice in it useful. If you want to see more stuff like this, you can check out all my other writing advice related videos and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.